Hello and welcome back to the Rory Talks Football channel. It has been a minute and for that I can only apologise. If you don't follow me on Twitter, I have updated people there. The streams have been put on temporary hold just whilst I'm busy with life and work and other things. They will come back, I promise. But I had to make a video on Arsenal beating Manchester City and specifically on Arteta beating Pep Guardiola. Now, this game was a coming of age for the squad. Don't get me wrong. For a lot of them, it's the first time they've beaten Man City in the league. That chip off the shoulder that they needed. It's a big confidence boost, and the team showed a lot of maturity. But it was also a coming of age moment for Mikel Arteta, in my opinion. Arteta beat Pep Guardiola, and I'm not going to, go crazy about Arteta completely outthinking Pep Guardiola and he blew him off the park and Pep didn't know what hit him. It wasn't on that scale, but the game was won on fine margins and fine decisions. And Arteta got those decisions bang on, and Pep Guardiola didn't. And Pep Guardiola didn't know how to react to slight changes that Arteta had made. I don't think Pep predicted what came from Arsenal, specifically at the start of the game, I'd say. So I would break the game down into kind of the first 25 minutes, the middle sort of 40 minutes, and then the final 25 minutes. Now, the first 25 minutes, City had complete control. They did. There's no point, lying about it. City were in complete control. Arsenal looked shaky. Arsenal looked nervous. City had a lot of the ball. And the few times that Arsenal did get forward, we lost the ball and there were chances out of possession where City could have hit us hard. And I think this is the first big key factor, was that I don't think Pep expected us to sit deep, which we did. We didn't really go all out guns blazing, which is what we've done a lot against Man City in the past. We've tried to play against Man City, especially at home, in the same way that we'd play against pretty much any other team at home, which is where we really do try and press them into their own half, and we're aggressive in that press, and it's caught us out. And so Arteta didn't play like that. We sat quite deep. We didn't really aggressively press them. We let them have possession. We didn't mind that. And I don't think City were expecting that. And when it happened, I don't think they knew what to do about it. And so there were a couple of times where they caught us out of possession in their own half, and there were chances for them to break, but they didn't. They played it more slowly, and I felt like they respected us too much, and we earned that respect. I think last season we earned that respect, but they could have killed us in the first 25 minutes, in my opinion. Aside from Raya's mistake and Alvarez nearly getting that goal, the corner in the first 5 minutes, there were a lot of opportunities that they didn't take where they won possession, and instead of going straight to Haaland, they went backwards, and they respected us too much, and that was the time for them to capitalise. Arsenal eventually relaxed into the game. Obviously, the Kovacic situation, I think, helped Arsenal. It put City under a bit of pressure. Kovacic and Bernardo Silva both being on bookings helped Arsenal, I think. And for the following 40 minutes, it was really a chess game. And I don't think anyone came out on top. I think both teams respected each other. I think neither team was really pushing in the way that they would in pretty much any other game in the Premier League. And for the neutrals and for a lot of people, that came across as quite boring. People have said it was a bad game. I don't think it was. I thought it was really interesting, but I can understand why people would get quite bored of that. Very few shots, very few clear-cut chances. Both teams ended the entire game with less than 0.5 XG. But what happened in the second half partially was actually Arteta's hand being forced a little bit, which was the Martinelli substitution. But then there were a number of key decisions from the sort of 65th minute onwards that I think benefited Arsenal, that I think Arteta got right, and Pep potentially got wrong. So, start of the second half, we bring on Martinelli. Instantly, there was a difference there because Martinelli offers a completely different threat, and I think he scares opposition. He stuck himself high and wide, which I'm sure he was directed to do by Arteta, and for Kyle Walker, that's a completely different problem than Leandro Trossard, because Martinelli has that raw pace and that unpredictability that Walker can't push himself forward and kind of think, well, I can let Trossard stay there because I'll catch him in a foot race. He's not too much of a threat. He couldn't do that. And that allowed us to start playing out more easily. We were less under pressure. We were less under that press. And we started being a bit more comfortable on the ball, started playing out more freely. But the crucial thing was when Doku came on in around the 65th minute. Pep Guardiola made 3 subs. And At first, against Zinchenko, he actually wasn't having any luck. He had two attempted dribbles past Zinchenko, and he lost both of them. Zinchenko dispossessed him, and I know Arsenal fans were worried about that threat, and Arteta was. And Arteta countered that move by bringing on Tomiyasu. He also brought on Havertz and Partey, which some people thought was defensive. I don't think it was. I think it was quite an attacking move if you look at what we then went on to do afterwards. That big sort of physical presence that we added to our squad at that point, it made a big difference. It meant we could be more direct, and we'll talk about how that paid off at the end. But with Tomiyasu coming on at left back, what that ultimately did was force Pep Guardiola to move Doku to the left-hand side of Man City's attack to try and target Ben White instead, because Tomiyasu is an elite 1-versus-1 defender, and Doku had zero success against him. Now, it turned out that Doku also had very little success against Ben White, who I thought was absolutely spectacular at right back. To come up against a fresh Doku, having played 70 minutes already, and handle him the way he did, Ben White deserved massive props for that. But what that then did was allow Arteta to say to Tomiyasu, get forward. Get forward. You haven't got Doku to deal with. And there wasn't really a threat down that right-hand side from Man City at that point. And so Arteta said, all right, get forward, Tomiyasu. And that's exactly what he did, and that's exactly where the goal came from. You know, the goal ultimately was scored by Tomiyasu being the furthest man forward. A lovely ball from Thomas Partey, one of the subs, into Tomiyasu, who wins the header, down to Havertz, another sub, laid off to Martinelli, the fourth sub, and that was the goal. And there were a couple of things there. Firstly, Arteta wasn't willing to sit in and defend a 0-0 draw, which is big. Mentality-wise, I think it would have been easy for Arteta to say, all right, we'll sit in, we'll take a 0-0. It's progress on losing to City as we always do. So he could have done that, but he thought, no, we can go for the win here. And it paid off massively. So I think Arteta deserves the biggest props for this result. He set us up perfectly. He didn't get carried away. He acknowledged that we can't play our game against City, because I do still think City are probably better at that game than we are. And you saw that in the opening 25 minutes. And Pep's mistake, and this is where I don't think Arteta made a mistake that day, but Pep did, was that after 10 minutes, Pep should have probably got the message on, we need to go for this. Arsenal are vulnerable right now, we should go for this. And he didn't. And that's, as much as it is a big thing and a monumental thing for the squad to have got a win over City, it's also a big thing for Arteta to have got a win over Pep Guardiola. So there you go. That's kind of it. Just wanted to talk about it. If you enjoyed the video, please do subscribe. More of these videos are on the way. Live streams are coming back. I massively appreciate the support, the people that got me to 5,000 subs in the first place. And I will see you all very soon. Goodbye.